I shouldn't be alive. That thought still hits me sometimes, in the most ordinary moments. Standing in the kitchen, scrolling my phone, or tying my boots before training. It comes back strongest when I remember the taste of salt on my lips and the way the Black Sea looked at 4 in the morning. Endless, black, and absolutely indifferent to whether I lived or died. My name in the unit is Conan. That's not the name my parents gave me, but it's the one that stuck. I'm big, strong, stubborn, the guy people call when something heavy needs lifting or something impossible needs doing. I was always proud of that. I just never thought my whole body would be hanging between life and death, alone in the dark water, with no one around to pick me up but myself. That night started like any other operation. Controlled chaos wrapped in routine. Aircraft patrols all day. Su-24s, the commander said, pointing at the map on the table. We go in at dusk, work fast, get out before dawn. We all nodded. I had heard the briefing pattern 100 times. Words like heading, range, exfil point slid over my brain like rain off a jacket. You listen, you mark what matters, and the rest you feel with your gut later. That's how it is in special operations. The plan is real until the first shot, and after that, it's you, your training, and whatever God you still believe in. I checked my gear like I always did. Helmet, body armor, webbing. Weapon clean and loaded. Night vision ready. I'm a big guy, 120 kilos without equipment, closer to 150 with it. I always carried weight well. Tonight was no exception. Under the weight, I felt grounded, heavy, solid. Solid things don't just disappear. Or so I thought. We moved out as the sun sank, the Black Sea turning from deep blue to dark steel. The boat cut through the waves, engines humming. The air smelled of fuel and salt. Far away, in the fading strip of orange on the horizon, the last light went out like someone dimmed a switch. "Eyes up," someone said. We all looked at the sky. The first Sioux came just after 8:30. We heard it before we saw it, a low growl that vibrated in your chest. Then suddenly it appeared in a fast, tearing line across the sky, and the sea all around us erupted as rounds slammed into the water. "Contact! Contact!" The boat swung hard. Spray hit my face. I dropped to one knee, scanning for the silhouette in the air. The gunner next to me fired our Stinger, and for a moment everything narrowed to that streak of smoke chasing a dot in the sky. When the missile connected, a small cheer broke out. Not loud, just a hard, satisfied exhale from 13 men who knew this meant we lived a few minutes longer. The aircraft peeled away into the distance. But we all knew what that meant. If they didn't kill us now, they'd be back. Or someone else would. We reached our target later that night, did what we came to do, and got out. It was work. Dangerous, precise, ugly, but work. By the time we headed back, it was around 5 in the morning. The sky was a deep, tired blue, hinting that dawn would come, but not yet. We were about 30 kilometers from where we'd first been hit, still far from home. That's when the alarm came again. Aircraft! The word slices through any conversation. You don't wonder which aircraft, you don't ask where, you just move. The Sioux found us again, like some angry god that hadn't finished us with the first time. Tracer rounds stitched the water around us, each impact a bright, violent punctuation mark. Our skipper threw the boat into tight maneuvers, zigzagging, dropping speed, accelerating. He was good, calm, but the sea has a way of turning any machine into something clumsy and small. I held on to the railing with one hand, weapon in the other, body shifting with every bounce. My balance has always been good. I trust my legs, my weight, my center of gravity. And then, in one jerk, all of that betrayed me. The boat rolled hard to avoid a fresh line of fire. For a split second, my boots lost contact with the deck. I reached out, fingers clawing for something, anything, and grabbed only air. The world tilted. Sky, sea, boat, sky again. Then cold. The water hit me like a fist. Every nerve in my body screamed. There was a flash of panic. Pure, animal, wordless. My head went under, and for a second there was only the muffled roar of distant engines and the heavy mass of water pressing against my ears. Then instinct took over. I kicked hard, reached up, burst through the surface and gulped air like it was fuel. I spun around, searching for the boat. It was there, not far. Engines roaring, men shouting. The aircraft still swooping overhead. "Conan!" someone yelled, a faraway echo over the waves. I started swimming towards them, but another burst of gunfire tore the water around the boat into splashes of white. The aircraft wasn't aiming at me. I was nothing, a dot in the dark sea. They wanted the boat. My brothers. I realized something important in that moment, something that would decide whether any of us lived. If they tried to turn back for me, they'd have to slow down. If they slowed down, they'd stay in the plain sights longer. 13 people in danger for one? I don't remember deciding. My body moved before my mind. I raised both arms, waving them away, shouting with everything in my chest. "Go! Get out! Go!" They hesitated. I could see it, the conflict, the instinct to come back. Then the plane made another pass, tracer round snapping at the night. The boat angled away, disappearing into the darkness. And just like that, I was alone. Have you ever tried to measure silence? Out there, the only sounds were my own breathing and the small slap of water against my ears. The plane's roar faded, the boat's engines faded. All that was left was the vast, heavy whisper of the sea. Panic came back like a wave. This is it. This is how I die. In the middle of nowhere, like a piece of trash thrown away. I forced myself to stop that thought. Panic is like drinking seawater. It feels like doing something, but it just kills you faster. I took stock. Life jacket. Thank God I'd put it on when that strange unease hit me earlier. No body armor, no helmet, no heavy webbing dragging me down. If I had fallen overboard with all that, I would already be gone. I searched the horizon, no shore, just black in every direction. Then I saw it, a distant point of light, a platform, a rig, constant, sharp, impossible to miss even at night. There, a reference point, something to move towards instead of away from. "You're not dead yet," I told myself. "You swim, you keep your eyes on that light. As long as you move, you're still in the fight." So I started swimming. It was funny, in a dark way. I've never been a great swimmer. I learned in a muddy pond as a kid, more out of necessity than love. Big guy, lots of muscle, good for lifting, not for gliding. After 100 meters of casual swimming, I'd usually be gasping. This was not casual swimming. The sea that night was deceptively calm. No big waves, no cinematic storm, just a soft surface and a current that felt like a hand on my back, gently but relentlessly pushing me away from where I wanted to go. I aimed at the light and kicked, pulled. After a while, I realized something cruel. I was moving, but not the way I thought. The current kept sliding me sideways, then back, then a little forward. It was like running on a treadmill you can't see. You stop, you drift. You drift, you lose that light. You lose that light, you're already dead. So I didn't stop. Minutes blurred into something that might have been hours. Time shrunk to a simple cycle. Pull, kick, breathe. Pull, kick, breathe. The rig's light moved maddeningly slowly, sometimes closer, sometimes almost the same. The sun eventually rose, turning the water a deep blue, then a harsh, bright mirror. The heat came next, pressing down on my head like a hand. Thirst arrived like an enemy. Your body begs you to drink, and there's water everywhere. But you know that if you drink it, you're just inviting death in through your mouth. Still, I slipped more than once, taking small mouthfuls, feeling the salt burn my throat. My thoughts wandered, then circled back to one image. My son. He was turning 1 in a month. I saw his face in my head, not even all that clearly, just a soft blur of cheeks and big eyes. I pictured him taking his first steps without me. I pictured my wife getting a call that started with, "We regret to inform you." No. I clenched my jaw and pushed harder. You are not dying here. Not like this. Not today. Sometimes I was sure no one was looking for me. Maybe the boat had taken too much damage and barely made it back. Maybe my name was already being turned into a past tense in some report. Other times, I could feel my commander out there somewhere, stubborn as ever, refusing to leave me behind. That argument in my head, give up versus keep going, went on and on. The only way to win it was to make the distance between thoughts very small. Don't think about hours. Think about one more minute, one more push, one more breath. Hallucinations started creeping in. Shapes on the water looked like boats. The glint of sunlight became a ship's hull, until I blinked and realized I'd been staring at the same damn rig the whole time. My mind tried to trick me with shortcuts. Look, land's right there. It wasn't. At one point, something grabbed my leg. I jerked, heart slamming, half expecting some nightmare from the deep. I twisted my body around and saw a seagull perched on my thigh, staring at me like I was just another piece of floating junk. A few more circled overhead, screeching. "You guys better be a good sign," I muttered. Later, I would find out they were. The heat trace from those birds helped a drone pick me out of the endless blue. But right then, they were just strange, unwelcome company. The hours stretched. The rig grew nearer, then further, then nearer again as the current toyed with me. I felt myself wearing down, not just muscles, but something deeper. There's a point where your body stops screaming and starts whispering. Just sleep. Just close your eyes for a bit. At some point, I rolled onto my back and actually did. Imagine this: hundreds of meters of water beneath you, open sky above, and you, a single tired human, floating in between, eyes closed. I don't know how long I slept, seconds maybe, minutes. When I opened my eyes, the rig was further away again. I wanted to swear, to scream, to cry, but none of that would move me any closer, so I just turned, pointed my body back at that stubborn light, and started swimming again. My life jacket was getting softer, less supportive. Too many hours under the sun, too many knocks. I could feel it slowly losing air like a tired lung. Evening was coming again. Night would hide me from a search party. I knew if they didn't find me before dark, my chances dropped to almost nothing. That's when I saw the ship. A shape on the horizon, low and gray. It moved like something with purpose, heading in my direction. Hope slammed into my chest so hard it hurt. "Hey!" My voice cracked. I waved, splashing water, trying to make myself bigger than the dot I was. Before it could reach me, an aircraft scream cut through the air, the same sound I'd heard all night. It dove towards the ship and fired. I watched its rounds impact the water near the vessel. Our vessel. No Russian plane would fire on a Russian ship like that. It was Ukrainian, and it was under attack. And then it turned away. You'd think that would break me. It didn't. If anything, it did the opposite. If the ship was there, it meant they were searching. If they were searching, it meant I was still alive in someone's calculations. They just hadn't found me yet. They're out here, I told myself. You're not alone. Keep moving. So I did. The sun sunk lower. Shadows grew longer. My arms felt like they belonged to someone else, and my shoulders burned with every stroke. I felt myself slipping into that quiet place again, where you stop caring whether you live or die. Then I saw them.
At first, it was just a distortion in the water, waves moving differently, something cutting through them. My exhausted brain whispered, "Enemy landing party. Russians coming to finish you off." I tensed, uselessly, scanning for weapons I didn't have. The object came closer. It was a small boat. A flag fluttered at the front. Blue and yellow. I don't remember exactly what sound came out of my mouth then. A laugh, a sob, a shout, maybe all three crushed together. I waved, splashed, kicked, afraid that if I blinked, they'd vanish like the hallucinations. They didn't. Faces appeared over the side, silhouettes I knew. Voices I'd heard cracking jokes in the mess, swearing in training, shouting commands in combat. My guys, my brothers. They pulled me up, arms grabbing under my shoulders, around my chest, hauling my heavy, half-drowned body into the boat. The world spun for a second, as sea became deck beneath me. I reached out, wanting to hug them all, but our medic pushed me down gently. "No time," he said. "Vest off, wetsuit off. Let's do this right." Thermal blanket, IV lines, the sting of a needle. The world became smaller. The edges blurred, but the center stayed sharp. I was alive. They'd found me. Later, they told me I'd been in the water around 14 hours, that I'd swum roughly 20 kilometers against the current, that my body temperature had dropped. Dehydration was serious, the kind of statistics you tell in a bar when the story's over and everyone already knows you made it. Back then, lying there under the blanket, watching my hands shake, I wasn't thinking about numbers. I was thinking about the ground. When we finally reached land, sometime around midnight, I stood up on my own. My legs trembled, but they held. I stepped off the boat and felt solid earth under my boots. I pulled out my phone with clumsy fingers and sent a message to my wife. "I'm alive. Mission done. I'll call later." I didn't tell her everything. Not yet. Sometimes I still ask her, like a game, "Hey, have you heard that story about the guy who swam for hours in the sea? What do you think kept him going?" She always answers the same. "I guess he really wanted to live." And I tell her, yeah, he really did. Because in the end, that's what it was. Not heroism, not some invincible courage, just a stubborn, burning thirst for life, for another sunrise, another laugh, another chance to see my son grow up. The sea tried to take me. The sky tried too. But I had one thing they didn't. I refused to let go. And if there's one thing I want anyone listening to my story to remember, it's this. When everything in you says, it's over, there is still a part of you that can whisper, one more push, one more breath. As long as you can hear that voice, you're not done. You're still swimming.